Wow, the filters you use on your face usually look dumb, but that looks great.
That's my dog.
Well, she is a natural beauty.
Um, thanks? Enjoy the show.
Welcome back, Smarties! First, leave me a comment. What are your favorite scary or mysterious movies? Let's talk about this scary movie called Within. I'd never heard of it before. Tubi recommended it to me based on my watch history, so I watched it for free on Tubi. They have fewer ads than Prime Video now. The copyright at the end was 2014, but the official release was 2016. Honestly, I don't know why it only has 5.1 stars on IMDb. The plot wasn't the most unique, but the casting was amazing, the direction was okay, the music by Benjamin Wallfisch was good and creepy without being overdone, and it wasn't a cheap, nasty body horror or shock-gore film. They relied more on good lighting effects, tension, and twists. But we have a movie scorecard, and we are gonna keep track of scary movie stereotypes. The main cast are Hannah, John, Melanie, Ray, and Tommy. In the first 13 minutes, we meet the three family members, Melanie, John, and Hannah. They get along nicely, and through some dialogue, we figure out they're a blended family, Melanie being the new wife. When the daughter checks out her new room, at first I didn't get why the lighting was a little insufficient, but then I noticed it looked like they set up a light to come through the blinds to imitate natural sunlight, which gave plenty of dark spots or more dim areas in the room and kind of made it look more organic, leaving room for plenty of shadows, creating an eerie effect. Hannah kept checking the closet over time, and I wondered if this was a case of Chekhov's closet. There's typical moving activities and some cute humorous moments establishing that they have a pretty good relationship. However, of course, moody teen is being a moody teen. She keeps finding reasons to complain about the new house. Meanwhile, I'm going, I wish my house was that big. You come live in 600 square feet, and then you'll be thankful that your new bedroom is too big. How is that a bad thing? But to be fair, they don't have any trees in the yard. Y'all, how does anyone survive without some trees? I'm kinda country, so I can't do it. Is anybody else tired of the moody teen trope? It's probably most common in just moved to a new place horror movies, and it shows up in other genres too. I'm pretty much over it. Unless their attitude is important to the plot, like maybe later we find out that they have a history of depression due to something sad that happened, or maybe they're harboring a grudge because a parent did something bad, and this gets revealed later on. For example, there was a huge, sad revelation about a young man's creepy behavior in the 2019 movie I See You, and the audience understands then why he's been so bitter against this one guy. Very dark story, great cast. Anywho, movie dad John helps the neighbor Ray start his van, and the neighbor offers to rekey their house. Movie dad is not picking up on the sus vibes. The neighbor had slicked back hair. That's always a bad sign. Moody teen girl talks to moody teen boy Tommy by video chat, and then the internet disconnects. At dinner, we find out moody underage daughter had a crazy unauthorized party and got drunk, so movie dad has trouble trusting her. After dinner, the daughter's cat, Monty, looks at a wall, then seems shocked and runs off like someone sprayed it with water. Then a family photo falls off the wall. At night, we get establishing shots to show how quiet the house is and to see that the alarm is set. Then the nail where the fallen photo had been starts getting pushed out of the wall. The daughter's blanket gets slowly pulled off her, and I'm thinking, how do you not feel that? There's a quiet noise. Hannah wakes up and goes downstairs. She finds a table out of place, which she thinks is her dad because they keep joking about wanting the table in a different spot. Monty is trying to get back in the house, so she opens the sliding glass door and the alarm goes off. I feel like this was the screenwriter's way of showing us, look, if anybody had broken in, you would know. The alarm would have gone off. There's nothing creepy going on. False sense of security. I get it. I like it. In the morning, Melanie can't find her keys and Monty is gone again. So I started worrying about him, thinking about the dog disappearing in The Gift from 2015. John says the house was sold as is and the previous owners left lots of boxes of stuff in the garage, and Hannah can keep whatever she wants from them. She finds a pretty heart locket and pictures of previous tenants. Creepy neighbor Ray comes over to rekey the house, says they should get better locks and that their alarm system isn't very good. There was the awkward, is the creepy neighbor coming on to me moment, and he lifts his arm, revealing a big ol' armpit stain. Ray messes with Hannah's camcorder, which is important later. John drinks straight from the milk jug, and Hannah says, "You're not the only one who drinks from that." In typical dad fashion, he says, "It's okay, we're family." I thought this was going to be a one-time cute family moment, but just like the camcorder, it comes up again later. Hannah takes a, it's not really underage pornography if it's blurry and foggy, movie shower, and this jump scare happens super fast, so I had to rewind it to check, but there was totally a dude standing outside of the shower door. Then the light goes out, we hear heavy breathing, but nobody's there when the light comes back on. Hannah meets the neighbor Rosemary, who brings a welcome basket. Creepy neighbor stares creepily. A neighborhood kid comes over. He's so adorable, y'all. He asks, "What's it like to live here?" And Hannah doesn't know what he means. So he says, "You know how every neighborhood has that one creepy house? Well, you're living in it." Apparently, some tenants were billed 10 years ago, and the most recent family disappeared, which explains why all that stuff was left in the garage. Hannah checks the attic for Monty, then a stranger's hand shoots out from behind a piece of furniture and a human figure moves. Hannah runs down the ladder and John checks out the attic, but it's only 35 minutes in, which means movie dad is safe. For now. He doesn't find anything. He accuses Hannah of being paranoid because she found out the house's sad history. Hannah researches further online and learns that the teen girl who lived there before was an aspiring photographer, just like herself. Hannah asks Rosemary about the previous tenants. Rosemary says the father who committed the murder-duicide was strange, but didn't seem capable of the crime. And she said that the most recent family was behind on the mortgage, but she doesn't know why they disappeared. Melanie and Hannah talk about hearing weird noises, but Melanie says there has to be a reasonable explanation. The alarm company calls her and they rush home because the alarm is going off. Nothing is missing in the house, but she tells John they better get new locks. Creepy neighbor Ray acts insulted that they're not hiring him to install the new locks. Then we get a close-up shot of a ton of keys on his belt. Hannah finds her camcorder in an unusual spot and watches a sweet message from her boyfriend Tommy. Then the quick recording that Ray took with it, zooming in on her, the top of her sweater. Then there's a distorted voice narrating a nighttime recording of their kitchen, saying, "This is where they eat." To be honest, at this point, I wondered if it was one of the family members. Like, maybe the title Within was a hint at not only the location of the creepy stuff that was happening, but also a hint at where the danger originated. Like in the 2013 movie Haunter, where all the dads are going crazy. Since there's a distortion on the voiceover, it could have been anybody, but the video shows Hannah in bed, so that rules her out. Then I thought about the wedding photo that fell off the wall. In that photo, John was staring at his daughter instead of his new wife, which was a little awkward to me. But, spoiler, I thought I was out clevering the movie, but I wasn't. Quick reminder, I don't have sponsors, so if there are ads, I'm sorry, that's not up to me. Also, if you want to listen to some literature-related fun, look up the Drunken Fish Writers Group podcast. The next scene is John pounding on the neighbor's door. He sees a for sale sign in Ray's living room, and we learn that the house is actually still listed for sale, which might mean Ray is squatting next door. John says the cops will analyze the video on Hannah's camera and try to determine if it was Ray. Then we see Ray and a woman watching the cops from a distance. The woman says, "We should go," but Ray says he has something to do first. The next day, Ray sees Hannah leave the house, and he gets in immediately with a key from his belt, of course. But Tommy calls to tell Hannah there's a formal dress code at the club they're going to with his parents, so she turns around to go change. Ray snoops around the house and steals some prescription pills. Honestly, the way he looks around kind of makes it seem like he's not as familiar with the house as he should be if he actually was the prowler. He stares through the crack in the door while Hannah changes clothes. Then someone comes down from the attic. This part was a little gross, but you have fair warning and can look away. Movies have that visual advantage over books because if they're classy, they give you cues when something bloody is about to happen. A gaunt guy with pale eyes bills Ray. At night, the creepy attic guy takes Hannah's blanket again. Then in the dining room, we see that the table keeps getting moved, not because of a friendly family disagreement about where it should be, but because someone keeps sneaking through the vent that's behind it. The attic guy, who looks like a very unhealthy JauncyDev, like if he let himself really go, drinks from the milk jug. Gross! Then John comes down and also drinks from the milk jug. As he closes the fridge, of course, we expect a jump scare. Creepy attic guy is gonna be there! But they didn't resort to that. Tommy scares Hannah in the garage, then carries her upstairs. Oh, teens are so unwise. Yes, I'm basically Helen in that episode of Daria where she keeps checking that Tom and Daria aren't making out. Anyway, creepy attic guy is watching them from the bedroom closet. In a photo Hannah found in the garage, Tommy notices a guy staring from an upstairs window at the family that's standing on the front lawn. John gets home. Tommy is about to hide in the closet, and this was a jump scare, y'all. When we see just for a second how bad the attic guy looks, I take back what I said about him looking kind of like an unhealthy JauncyDev.
No way.
We see him, but they don't notice him, and Hannah tells Tommy, "No, I'll keep my parents distracted downstairs and you go out the window." Tommy tries sneaking out of the house, but attic guy grabs him. In the evening, her parents go out.
Bye.
Hannah gets into a wine bottle for a while, and she gets up to check on a weird noise. There was kind of a cool framing here where we see Hannah through the wine glass. While she's up, attic guy pours some powder into the wine. When she passes out, he carries her to her room. When Hannah goes downstairs in the morning, John picks up the wine bottle and says, "Congratulations, Hannah, you're grounded again." Frowny face. From the previous tenants' boxes, Hannah finds psychiatric documents about David Howe, saying he had an extreme case of agoraphobia and occasional homicidal ideations. Hannah figures out he was one of the previous family's sons, and he freaked out when they were going to put him in a mental hospital. She tells Melanie and John. Y'all, there was such a great creepy shot in the kitchen. Hannah gets a glass, and in the reflection of the cabinet door, we watch David silently sneak down from a cabinet above the stove. Hannah keeps her back turned until he's out of the kitchen to make him think she didn't notice. Then she warns John and Melanie. David grabs John with a cord and pulls him up into the attic. This moment was intense. I mean, the movie had done a pretty good job of developing the family, so you want them to pull through. But you know it's the last part of the movie, so nobody's safe. Cops show up really fast. They zoot a guy who appears to lunge at them in the attic. Then they send him off in an ambulance. They find a bunch of trinkets like clothes and photos of people that David watched or built. At the next scene, my heart dropped when Hannah is calling Tommy's phone and it's ringing inside her closet. She opens the door. David drops down from the ceiling. Then in the ambulance, we see a different guy, which means David probably just threw a cadaver at the cops. Melanie and John look for Hannah, who's bound in the wall behind that photo that fell. In trying to escape, she bumps into an electric wire, which starts a small fire. Melanie breaks the wall enough to talk to Hannah, then John tells her to climb up to the attic and he'll meet her there. David grabs Melanie, of course. That was sad. John gets Hannah out of the attic, but David grabs him too. It was at this point I was like, look, I know you don't like going out. Me neither. But David, you're just the worst. If I don't want to go out, I don't. It doesn't mean I want to hurt people. That's one of the reasons it's hard for me to watch horror movies, but I really like mysteries. Hannah has her hand on the doorknob, but David grabs her. Then the credits roll in reverse, which I thought was clever. Here's my biggest problem.
What?
I could not discern for sure who was in the ambulance. I paused the image and stared and still couldn't get facial recognition. I was so frustrated with myself.
Good news, Smarties. It only took 24 hours, but thanks to these two websites, I figured out who was probably in the ambulance. Sadly, I think it's Tommy. His hair is matted down and his face is covered in red, so I wasn't sure at first. I don't know if I can say blood on YouTube. You can upload all kinds of private bedroom content that breaks their rules, but since they claim to care so much about your kids, they sure do enjoy word censorship. Anywho, the lip shape and cleft chin both look real similar. He's only in the movie for like a minute and a half, so I'll try not to be too hard on myself for not recognizing him. But kudos to the movie because the revelation is made while Hannah is calling Tommy's phone, which I should have taken as a clue.
8 out of 10 rating on IMDb. Movie starts as any average horror movie plot, but it slowly picks up, and in the end, 25 to 30 minutes is very scary, although there might still be some questions unexplained. 1. Where did Monty went? Yeah, where did Monty went? 2. Where was the body of Key Locker kept? 3. How come police completed investigation in a place without thorough checking? Here are a couple one-star ratings on IMDb. Let me preface this by saying I loved the concept. There's nothing I find more entertaining than this concept, and when you think a horror movie is one thing, but it turns into something else. This wasn't it. Seriously, the dumbest people making the dumbest decision with the dumbest ending. I just can't. To be fair, I understand what he means about the ending because I kept going, I know you both want to help your daughter get out of the wall, but there are two of you and one of you needs to call the cops. This is probably my favorite one-star rating. Still don't know what happened to Monty! He's right, I was wondering the same thing, but considering how crazy David was, you might not want to think too hard about it. There were actually a couple of 10-star reviews. This is a well-acted, scary thriller. I think some of the low scorers must have watched a different movie to me, or they didn't watch it at all. Why is the cat's fate so important to some of them as well? It's not about the cat. You'll think it's a ghost story at first. Really good tense music, too.
Watch it.
You heard her. We better watch it, y'all. Great, great, great. Unbelievable film. Truly great and a real gem of a drama/horror film. Michael Vartan is of French origin, BT dub. He is great, great, great in this one. I loved this movie. It is scary, and I mean scary. Truly a very horrific film in all the ways that a movie can be horrific without being real. And really, just a movie. At 2032, there is a scene that blew me away. Completely. I liked the tone of the fear that it has in most of it. 5 people that I know did not see it, but liked the way it sounded when I told them about it. So I checked the timestamp 2032, of course before it and after it too. And this is the scene. The gorgeous Nadine Velazquez is pulling into the driveway. Before that, Hannah finds a teddy bear on the floor, and after it, Melanie is surprised by Ray, but that's all, so I'm not sure what they're talking about. A 9 out of 10. What a great film. It was packed with suspense. I can't recall a dull moment in the film. The characters were well developed, the acting was great, the plot was tight, and the camera work was top-notch. I've seen films with a similar plot, but this one was very creative and can stand on its own. I would recommend. My husband made a similar comment about the camera work, especially at the end, where they make you super terrified. I guess I could have just read this review on camera because that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, Smarties, we have a very full scary movie stereotype scorecard. Sad backstory of the place they just moved. Clues from previous tenants' belongings. Moody teen, horny teen. Nosy neighbor, creepy neighbor. Only one person has observation skills. Missing pet. Somebody says there has to be a reasonable explanation. Moving furniture, moving picture frames. Parents can't agree on how to raise a kid. Shower scene. Crazy previous tenant. Crime blamed on the wrong person. You're not alone when you're alone in your house. And for the love of all that is holy, would you get some guard dogs instead of a cat?
Well, thanks for watching. Compassion is love plus action. Have a great day. Within is rated R for bloody violence, some language, and brief nudity. You can find out more about the rating on imdb.com. It sounds like I said bedroom. Bedroom. Good girl. Yes, can you stay right there for a minute? Good girl, you get cozy? Yes, you look nice. Jesus loves a big face. Oh, you look so good on the camera. Yeah. Good job. Can you look that way over there? Yes. Can you look at that? Can you face that way? Nice. Can you look over here? Okay, good girl.